for our Rush Hour Roundtable. We are also streaming live on NewsNationNow.com and on our NewsNation Facebook page. So let's introduce you to our panel today. First, we have Nigel Laskowski. He is a co-host of the radio show Hammer and Nigel, afternoon drive show on 93.1 WIBC in Indianapolis. Elaine Swann, author and lifestyle expert. And finally, Brad Palumbo, libertarian conservative journalist. Nice to see all of you. Thanks for being here. Our first topic today, what else? School safety. Tuesday's elementary school shooting in Texas, highlighting security concerns at schools. Districts can equip their schools with items such as bullet-resistant glass, cameras, armored doors, if they can afford it, though. The Partner Alliance for Safer Schools developed a school safety and security checklist. The starting cost, $93,000 for Tier 1, which includes video surveillance and push-button locks for classrooms. The top tier includes all of that, plus items such as an emergency notification system and a security vestibule. That can cost more than $500,000, and it would cost Texas more than $3 billion for all 8,700 school campuses to reach Tier 4. Just for physical upgrades. So let's start with the fundamental question. How do you keep your kids safe? First, let's get everyone's initial thoughts. And Brad, let's start with you.
Yeah, well, I think this is the number one question on everybody's mind. We need to talk about security. We need to talk about mental health. We need to talk about law enforcement. I am pretty skeptical, though, of the rush to push some of the mainstream gun control proposals, like the call for universal background checks. Wouldn't have stopped this shooter. He bought his guns legally. Like the call to raise the age to buy a gun to 21. Would likely get struck down by the courts and doesn't work stopping kids from getting alcohol. So I think that security is a much more promising avenue than gun control for where we are right now.
Elaine, what about you?
I don't agree. I think absolutely gun control, this is what's killing our kids. Gun control, the guns are what's killing our kids. And so what we have to do is really take a page out of the books of some of these other countries who have enacted various laws to stop this madness, to prevent folks from getting the wrong types of killing machines in their hands in order to take away our children. We understand there's mental illness. We understand that these certain things would not have stopped this guy. But the thing is to take the killing machines out of the hands of these killers. That's where it needs to start.
Nigel, what do you think? I mean, there are countries all around the world where people struggle with mental illness, where they leave a back door open, where they have all of these other, circumstances we've been talking about, and they're not seeing mass shootings at schools on a regular basis. What do you think?
Well, I completely disagree with Elaine. I agree with Brad on this. I think we need to concentrate on the school security. There are no laws on the books that would have stopped this monster from marching in there and with his AR-15 style. If there were laws, he just would have bought a different model. Here's something else I kind of thought of. What about not sending kids to school at all? Homeschooling. Look, I fought tooth and nail 2 years ago to get my kids back into school full-time in person for 5 months. And, man, I looked at my wife this week and I said, do we even want to send our kids to school on our last day of school? There are tons of viable choices. I have a friend that his daughter stayed home a couple of years ago for a full year from school and took online courses, was very successful for that. So it was a surreal, ironic moment that I had with my wife saying, well, maybe we could keep our kids home. Now, that's not a viable option for a lot of people. So, yes, let's start with, first of all, stop kicking police out of schools. Let's stop there. Over 30 states last year got rid of their got rid of their school safety officers and resource officers. That is not the answer.
However, there was armed law enforcement outside of this school for at least 40 minutes while the shooter was inside. They didn't go in. Does that change the equation here? Elaine?
It does. Here's the key here I think that we need to think about is you're exactly right. There are no laws on the books that would have stopped this guy. That's why we need to get the laws on the books. Now, I'm not saying that we shouldn't have guns. I live with guns. My husband has his guns. He enjoys shooting. He enjoys the shooting range. He enjoys hunting, everything else. I'm not saying that. What I'm saying is there are specific guns that should certainly have some sort of ramifications in terms of whether it's extended background checks for particular types types of guns. This guy bought these guns online and they were shipped to him. We're going backwards as far as this is concerned. We're trying to add more and more and more money to pay for security for the kids, when we need to be putting that money elsewhere into adding laws on the books and making sure that there are barriers in place, and also, of course, helping with the mental health. Listen, we know that there are folks out there that are going to do whatever they're going to do, but if they don't have a killing machine, something that is absolutely going to kill people, why our children are a target, I do not know, but we need to do something to stop this from happening, and to just say, put more officers in the schools, and to still give these folks something that's going to allow them to go in and kill the kids. I don't think that's the answer. It's not the answer. We need to look at this. There are laws that prevent people from doing stuff such as drunk driving. Some drunk drivers still do it anyway, but some people who choose not to drunk drive is because they know there's a law against it, and that if they get caught, they're going to suffer from it.
Brad, I want to go back to you. I mean, you mentioned all of these things. I think there is widespread consensus on making schools safer, right? Instituting these security measures. We talked about the cost of it. Are taxpayers willing to pay all that money?
Well, honestly, the cost is a non-issue. But when we're talking about $3 billion for the state of Texas, the federal government lost more than $200 billion to unemployment fraud and the COVID stimulus alone. There are trillions of dollars wasted by our government every year.
Okay, but let's focus on this topic in particular, which is the money that would go to schools, not waste in other areas, et cetera. Let's focus on this. Are taxpayers, if it's on the ballot, willing to pay all of that money in communities that are low income?
Limited government person, I would be willing to pay for school security, yes. But I do want to touch on the point that Elaine made about why only America. Because the thing is, the comparisons to other countries have limited usefulness, because we are where we are today. There are 400 million guns in America. There are more guns than people in America. We can't change that. If we were starting from scratch, maybe we would want to make a country with no guns at all. But as long as honestly, for all of our lifetimes, there will be guns around for bad people to get their hands on, because there are 400 million guns today. So restricting lawful gun owners, that's the downside that's being overlooked, is that defensive gun use occurs in the U.S. anywhere between 500,000 to 3 million times per year, according to the Institute of Medicine. This is a real trade-off that can't be overlooked, and we're not in the similar situation of other countries.
Nigel, back to you. We remember Columbine, Sandy Hook, Parkland. Now this year alone, there have been 27 school shootings in this country. When we talk about keeping our kids home, right, and you say it's not a viable option for all parents in this country, but what have we learned from past shootings?
Well, I think we've learned that we do definitely need more security, more protocols in schools. We can have all these arguments about the Second Amendment. It's the same thing every time. The left argues about common sense gun control. The right argues about mentally ill and taking care of your mental health. But really, let's figure out the security first. We can figure out the security first. Single points of entry. It's not going to work. Unfortunately, we learned today a teacher propped the back door open to the school in Texas. And, first and foremost, thoughts and prayers to the victims and their families. But my God, what this teacher must be going through that accidentally left this door propped open where the shooter was able to get in. You can have all the security, all the protocols in place. If something like that happens, you'll never be able to stop this. And
kids in this country now going through active shooter training drills. I remember when I was a kid, we had fire drills and earthquake drills, never active shooter drills. Okay, none of you go away. Right after the break, we're going to continue this conversation, and we're going to talk about the high cost of summer travel. We'll be right back.